Let's see, I've been a hotshot for, I believe it's 19 years, and I've been in fire since 1988, so I think about 26 years or 25 years total. It's all been a big adventure to me. I came from Michigan, and I just rode out here on my motorcycle one day and ended up, for me it was, I had a job, I was a motorcycle mechanic, realized, oh boy, this can be a tough living, you know, and plus I own my own shop, and I'd always dreamed of that when I was a kid. But I noticed a lot of my customers came in, they had a lot of time on their hands, and I started asking, what in the world do you do? And oh, I'm a firefighter. And my boss's son would come in towing a big old ski boat and on his four-wheel drive, and I'm like, what's he do? Oh, he works for Glendale Fire Department. I'm like, holy cow, what, do these guys ever work? So at any rate, it came to a point, I started thinking about what I might want to do for a career, and I thought, wow, a firefighter. And when I was younger, that would have been my least of what I would think of being. But anyway, I started looking around, doing some testing, and one thing led to another, and I took a fire science class at LA Valley College, which was recommended. That's one of the ways you got into the fire department. And for me, I grew up in Michigan. I heard of Smokey Bear, but I didn't know what big forest fires were or anything. I always saw them on TV. So anyway, my teacher was FMO. He was a division on the Saugus, and I used to run marathons, and once a week I would run to school. I lived in Northridge in LA Valley College. It was about a 13-mile one-way run, so I would show up in class, and I had my shorts on, and pretty soon the teachers started getting interested. They're like, I noticed do you run a lot? And I said, well, yeah, I live in Northridge, and I do this just once a week. It's like a training run. And he goes, who picks, how do you get it back? And I go, I just run back home. So that would be like my one long run. Once a week for, I can't say it for the semester or whatever. And so anyway, he started recruiting out of the class, and that was, I remember he recruited, and I was like, okay, how much do they make? And he goes, well, you make about $6 an hour to start. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I had to pay rent and still be able to eat some food. And so then I didn't really give it much thought, and it was for the Forest Service, and I'm like, what's the Forest? And he started explaining, we were talking about brush fires and stuff, and I'm like, wow, that's kind of interesting stuff. And so anyway, one thing led to the next. I went and talked to my boss, and I told him what I was kind of thinking about, and he said, well, if you want to do that for the summer, you have your job when you come back in the fall, and if you can work any time in between. So anyway, I went back and I said, hey, Pat, I might give this a try, but I don't know if I can live on $6 an hour. And he goes, oh, you're going to make some overtime. And I said, how much do you make now? I think I made $12 an hour or something like that. And he's like, well, you'll do at least that through the summer, and you'd be okay. And I'm like, okay, well, I'll give it a try. And he said, well, here's the application. Just fill that out and send it in. And I filled it out, sent it in. About 5 days later, I got this package in the mail, and it said, if you accept the job at Red Mountain Station, sign here on the dotted line and bring it into the district office. And then I realized where my station was at. It was up Lake Hughes Road, and I loved that road. I didn't live up in Lake Elizabeth yet, but I'd ridden my motorcycle up there and started thinking, wow, this is a cool place. And then I lived in Castaic at one point, and I used to run from Castaic after work and run up to the visitor center and back, which was like 6 miles, and it was up Lake Hughes Road. And I just thought, wow, that's cool. I'm going to be working on the road this road that I think is so cool and love and do so much on as far as stuff that I did. So anyway, yeah, I accepted the job, and that's when I started in 1988 on an engine. And I know my first season, my captain said, oh, you're going to go to a hotshot crew next year. And I was like, I don't want to go to a hotshot crew. I want to stay here. I said, don't you like me? And he goes, he's like, no, you need to go to a hotshot crew, and you'll get along with the old man. So I hadn't even seen the crew yet. And one day we went to Texas Canyon, and we were in the garage, and I remember opening the door and looking outside, and all these guys were piled in the lawn, and they were like big dog pile going on and wrestling around. And here comes the office door goes flying open. Here comes this old guy walking out with long hair and all shirt pulled out, all dirty, and a half beard going on. I'm like, Lucky, who's that wino? And he goes, that's no wino, that's the old man. You're going to get along with him just fine. So anyway, one of the tapes that I brought you has him on it and talking about the old days. So anyway, that was the next year I did go to the hotshot crew, and it was quite an experience from then on. Even my first season was a good season on the engine. I gotta say, everything that I've done every season that I've been here has been just one adventure after another.